Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. This is Debbie from the Inspiration Station. Today I have a layout share video for you featuring about a dozen layouts that I've made in the last month or two. Most of them, in fact 9 of them, are from the class that I'm taking on Facebook with Allison Davis. It's the Sketches for 6x6 Paper Pad 1-page sketches class. I took her class of 2-page sketches last year and absolutely loved it, got so much done. And I'm always amazed at the amount of content that she adds to her classes. It's really a fantastic class. I'll try to link below one of her videos where she talks about using 6x6 paper pads on pages because there's a ton of information in her video. But for now, let's get started. So my first page is my grandson. Actually, most of these pages are going to be my grandson. He's just my favorite subject, both in real life and for scrapping. So bear with me if you're not into toddler pages. I'm sorry. There is a wedding page and there's one Disney page, I think. 2 Disney pages. So we'll have a little bit of variety, but right now everything seems to be focused on him, which, as it should be in my mind. So this one is Fearless. This is when he went to a birthday party for his cousin and they had one of those blow-up slides, bounce house type things. And he climbed right up on it and went down, came down the slide. I actually printed these photos from a video that my daughter sent me. And I absolutely loved it because the smile never left his face. I don't know if you can see how just so happy he is. And you would think he would have been frightened or something. Not at all. This was done using 6x6 papers. It's a really old collection of papers. They weren't even in a pad, so I can't help you with where that came from. But the background is Bo Bunny. It's their double dot paper. And then I also used an orange double dot up here. I really love the combination of orange and blue, especially for toddlers. The next page is also of my cutie pie, and this is some photos that his mom took when she brought him to the job site. My son is a logger, so is my husband, and so we have a lot of pages and photos and things that have to do with the wood. So I do use a lot of wood grain paper and a lot of plaid. The embellishments here are from the Little Lumberjack line, from Echo Park, and these are just some cork thickers that actually a friend gave me. And another one with my little lumberjack baby. These embellishments again and this paper are from the Little Lumberjack line. The dies that I used on here, the moose and the bear, came from Echo Park, and I think this blue plaid was actually from a Christmas pad of plaids for Christmas that I got from Michael's recollection. Okay, so now we're getting into the ones from the 6x6 class. And the first page, the first layout of that class was to use the 6x6 papers as is, which means you don't cut them down, you just put them right on the page at 6x6 and go for it. And this one is just so great. My husband sent me this photo when I was in Florida, that he was playing in the payloader and just absolutely having a ball. A lot of people questioned when I put this up on Facebook. They all wanted to know where this paper came from. And this is actually a Kaisercraft paper. It's from an older line called Factory 42. And the rusty corrugated metal type thing and the diamond plate just works so well for the heavy equipment. The gears are from the Tim Holtz Biggs die. And I did also, I don't know if this shows up on camera, but I used some gray cardstock and embossed it with one of the Tim Holtz embossing folders. Stickers are from Thickers, and these are the foam alphas from Simple Stories. Okay, here's one of my Disney pages, and this was layout number 2, where we were supposed to use 2 6x6 pieces of paper, and the look just didn't work for me with what I was working with. So I cut my papers into 1.5-inch strips and did it that way instead. and I used it to take some of these magic shots. If you have ever been to Disney and get their photo pass, their photographers take your photo all over the park. They do these things called magic shots where they ask you to pose a certain way, and then they insert little characters into the photo. So in this case, you know, they had me hold my hand out and they put the little frog on my hand. This one's my favorite down here because I'm really into the child from The Mandalorian. And so they had us stand as if we were bounty hunters and put him in there. This is another one of those pages that I did the trick that I showed in a previous video. I think it was my process video for Disney pages, where I made these gold stars using Scrapbook adhesive by 3L. They have a dispenser that dispenses adhesive stars. So when you put them on the page, you can go over them with any color foil, rub it on, and then make them foiled. So I really love how that adds just a little bit of shine to the page. This was week 3, layout 3 from the class. And again, I'm back to the orange. I just love it. And of course, he's wearing orange in the photo. I loved the way the paper worked with this. The wood and the orange match his shirt. And then there's these little cars down here. This is a Tim Holtz die. It's a Biggs die with an embossing folder. And I love this. My son sent me these photos because, well, this is my son about 25 years or more. Yeah, probably 25 years ago. He used to cut all this firewood up, he called it. And he'd just sit with these clippers and cut all the twigs and things and load them into his little Tykes truck and drive them around, you know, trying to be like Dad. And now his son is doing the same thing. So I loved this. I thought it came out great. This page is one of my least favorite from the class so far. I loved the design. I loved the idea of doing the grid layout and layering the squares, but I think for my own personal taste, I would rather have done larger squares. These are 2-inch squares. They left the page really empty. It didn't have this border on it. It was just, you know, centered on here. And I ended up cutting this border on my Cricut because it really was just too blank, too much white space for me. So it's okay. I think it's a pretty page. It's just not one of my favorites. This one, however, is one of my favorites, and this is of my daughter's wedding, which the poor girl had to postpone her wedding 3 times due to COVID, and we finally managed to get her married. Well, she actually got married last year, but didn't get to have the wedding part, the reception, until this year. So it's just, the pictures were so fun. I loved this photo of her with the bridesmaids. I used a cut-apart card to list all the girls' names. One of the bridesmaids is just the cutest thing, and she had my daughter bouncing on the bed, which was really fun. And then this is her matron of honor. They were opening a bottle of champagne out on the porch. Used thickers again. This 6x6 pad is it's from Cartabella, and it's Spring Market, I believe. It was the first of their Market series that they came out with, and I actually just finished week 10. I can't put that up yet because we're only in week 9, but I used the same papers for the companion page, and so you'll see that in the next video. This layout, there is a process video for up on my channel, and you can see how I did this and how I covered up my mistakes. This is started with a piece of Vicki Boutin, what's the line? Let's Wander collection. It's a pre-made background of mixed media, and then I added some extra to it to make it blend better with my page. Now this one was really interesting. The layout itself, the sketch called for all these banners, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it. And then I found this paper pad, and this is Echo Park, and it's called Have Faith, and it's a religious-based page. It had a lot of things about prayer and such, but the colors and the patterns were so different from anything else that I had that I really wanted to use it. So I was able to use it just didn't use all the phrases and things that came with it. Added some Mickey heads in to show that it's from Disney. Used the thicker phrases here to say welcome home. And I was pleased with it. Oh, I also did stitching on both ends. Something I'm not really crazy about, but I really love the look. I don't know, maybe it'll grow on me the way fussy cutting is beginning to grow on me. We'll see. This one is another one of my absolute favorites from the class so far. Now, when I saw the sketch, I really didn't think I was going to like it. First of all, the squares are only 1.5 inch, and that's a lot of cutting. It's a lot of placing and trying to get things lined up. And, you know, when you look at a sketch, sometimes it's hard to see what the finished page will look like, just to imagine it. I know my photo placement is different from the sketch. I don't remember off the top of my head how she had her photos, but I ended up really loving this. I found this piece of Vicky Bouton paper, again from the Let's Wander collection, and I loved the orange and the distressed look of it. So I went digging through my 6x6 papers, and I found a stack of very, very old basic gray papers. Those of you who have been scrapping a while will remember basic gray. It's been many years. They went out of business several years ago, but they had a style all their own. At the time, they were very unique. And so I still have a ton of basic gray papers. And I'm finding it harder to use these days because styles have changed. But I used them here, and I did ink the edges. What did I use? I think I used gathered twig. Yes, it was gathered twig that I used to ink the edges. And then I did use the machine. Allison had hand stitching on hers. I used the machine because there was no way I was going to do all that stitching. And I just thought the colors went so perfectly with these sunrise photos. My husband and I went to Virginia Beach in May, and we were out there every morning for the sunrise. It was just so beautiful and so relaxing. So I'm really liking the way this page came out. I did add some ink splatters to it just to have a little bit of shimmer, and really loved how it came out. Now this is this week's page, so it's the last one in my pile. I have gone on to do the next week, but like I said, at the time that I'm uploading this, we can't show it yet. So this is week number 9, and it was using 1-inch squares. Again, a lot of cutting and a lot of lining up, and 1-inch squares are really hard to line up. They're never perfectly sized unless you're using a die or a 1-inch punch, which I didn't do because that would have just taken even more time. So I did have a hard time lining them up, but I think I covered in enough that you can't see the imperfections, I hope. So I did use, this is an Echo Park paper. It was a little boy line, and it had some 1-inch squares on the 6x6 pad of these little sayings and icons. So I thought those were perfect. I did mat this on a wood grain piece of paper because I wanted to bring out more of this wood grain stripe. And then the only change that I made from Allison's sketch was adding this banner up here. I had added this bunny down here because the color of the bunny matched this raw chipboard title that I had. And I found this banner in the same bag full of embellishments. I believe these might have been pebbles. I'm not really sure because I just had a container full of baby boy embellishments. And whatever the paper was underneath, there was a stripe or something up here that didn't match. So I took a piece of this paper, cut it down, and made a little stripe to cover that. And I really liked the way that it tied in the 3, give you a visual triangle of that raw chipboard color. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this. I really enjoyed making them. I'm really loving the class. I think that it is worth every penny that I paid. Allison is amazing in the way that she presents the class and all of the materials that she provides for us. In addition to the 20 sketches in the pad, she also gives us tons of alternate examples that we can use. So it really, you're getting so much more than 20 sketches. So I highly recommend it. If you ever get a chance to take a class with her, definitely do it. In the meantime, these are my photos, or my layouts from that class, and a few extras that I just threw in of, you know, my little guy. So I hope you enjoyed this. Please, if you did, give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment. I really appreciate hearing from you. And if you would subscribe, you would make my day. I love seeing the numbers go up on my viewers, and it's really been fun the last couple of weeks, checking in every now and then to see who my new subscription people are. So I really do appreciate that. I appreciate you taking the time. So until the next video, I hope you stay creative and have a wonderful day.